Are you ready to kickstart your week with some dirt slinging and tire slaying action motorsports radio that packs the biggest guests?
Hi, Ken Block here.
Hey, my name's Jolene Van Vliet.
What's up, Brian Deegan?
Vaughn Gittin Jr. here.
They've been thrown into one show that has broken down the barriers of what a motorsports radio show should be. This is the Down and Dirty Radio Show, powered by Polaris Razor, with support from General Tire, KMC Wheels, Rigid Industries, Dirtfish, Gibson Exhaust, and MTX Audio, with your host, who also happens to spend his weekends flying 800 horsepower trucks through the dirt, Jim Beaver.
When was the last time you saw an off-road or rally driver begging to get behind the wheel of a NASCAR IndyCar? Yep, not happening, but you sure see these pavement racers begging to drive our cars.
And his partner in crime every week, a self-proclaimed Canadian moto chick who was jumping triples and taking podiums before most guys even learned to ride, Ami Houde.
No one knows how to say my last name. Like, is it really that hard? Ami Houde, like I'm from the hood. Don't get it twisted.
Sit back, strap in, and be prepared to join us as we take you through a motorsports ride like no other. Here is the man who carries a steering wheel in one hand and a mic in the other, Jim Beaver.
Good morning and welcome to the Down and Dirty Radio Show, powered by Polaris Razor. Another Monday morning here in the Down and Dirty Radio Show studio, and man, we've got a slam-packed show today. It's a little bit different, an out-of-the-box show we've got coming at you. Going to be some of my talk. Going to talk on some subjects maybe we don't talk about a lot. Maybe have some surprise callers. Ami Houde, she's capping things off like normal. We got Tanner Whitten, GRC Lites driver, took a win this year in the Dirtfish entry. He'll be calling in the second half of the show. Kicking things off, we got Joe Duncan, possibly a surprise guest calling in with Joe, but Joe from Terracross. We're going to recap 2015 and kind of preview what's ahead in 2016. Not only that, we got Dirtfish Rally Report, ton of rally to talk about, Recoil 3, Baja 1000 preview, and you know what? We may even get on a little Ronda Rousey rant if we've got some time. But definitely a fun show today, and always love to hear from you, our fans. If you got any questions for any of our guests, questions for me, anything, everything, I will just about answer it all on air. At JimBeaver15 on Twitter, hit me up, and we will get those questions asked. And lots of two-wheel stuff going on, in Amy's segment. So a lot of fun today, and hang tight. It's going to be a great show. But right now, Joe Duncan, our first caller from Terracross, on the line. How's everything going, Joe?
Things are great, Jimmy. How about yourself?
I'll tell you what, it seems like we just in 2015 and things are already ramping up for 2016. It was like I haven't even felt like, I don't know, it just seems like 2016, about halfway through 2015, we're already starting plans for 2016, and I know Terracross and you are no different.
Halfway through. I think we started in January on 2016, the way it feels. Yeah, we rounded out the 15 season with a bang there at Camp Razor, and at the same time we're already working on 2016 and went right from Camp Razor to SEMA to kick off all the meetings and talks, and met some great people, had some incredible sit downs with some partners for 2016. So yeah, it doesn't end.
Yeah, well, and it seems like, I was fortunate enough to be able to drive in the series, if that's what you want to call it, this year. But be involved.
No comment. No comment.
Yeah, it was definitely. I said going in, this is going to be a learning year, and we'll be gas on, game on next year. But being around the series. I mean, I've known about the series for a couple of years, but traveling with the series, driving, kind of announcing, doing radio. It's just, to be honest with you, just the people I get emails from, and it seems like last year everybody kind of found out about Terracross, and it was like this year interest just ramped up and went through the roof. And I feel like the series has got a lot of momentum going into 2016.
It really does, and again, it goes back to the people we've partnered with, from Polaris Industries and Razor, yourself with the radio show, obviously CBS Sports Network. We had a great meeting with the head of CBS Sports Network at SEMA, and they want more from us. I mean, it doesn't get much better than that when they're asking for more. And we got a great team. We, from our partners from top to bottom, to the incredible athletes and celebrities and and racers that are part of the event. As you know, it's not about racing. It's about the entertainment and the entertainment television that this thing is built off of. And that's what has sparked the interest and has created the demand and drive, is that it's more than just racing. And anybody somewhat can go racing, but to be able to go and have fun and entertain and do some cool things and different things and be on television and all those other fun aspects of Terracross, it just makes it a complete package, which is the business model from the beginning. Unfortunately, in the beginning, nobody understood it or got it, and they do now. And it's great to have all these other racers and celebrities that want to come play with us next year, and event sites. I mean, we won't announce a schedule here for a little bit yet, probably 30, 60 days, as we're in the talks with a bunch of different potential event sites, as well as how well Camp Razor went last event there with the championship crowned under the Musco lights, and it was it's just opened up some more doors for Terracross and all of the people that are part of it.
Well, in Camp Razor in particular, man, talk about bringing a venue to the endemic market. I mean, I know there was guys. I mean, I look at Brandon Schuler, who took a podium, and I mean, here's the guy who I know you've talked to for a couple of years now, trying to get him in, and finally got him in a one-off appearance. He takes a podium, and I look at a guy like that, and I know Brandon, and I know you've got your hooks in him now. It's like he's going to be like, oh, let's go, I want to do this.
Well, that's what it takes, and we've been talking with Brandon. Polaris, he was one of the first guys that Polaris said, hey, we got a Jagged X machine, we got the Jagged X guys, we want them to come, and there's been a door open for them to come and play with us and be a part of it for a while, but just it's never matched up. And that was the cool thing about being there at Camp Razor, is everybody was there. Everybody was already kind of going to be there. And it really helped out to be able to bring in those caliber of drivers. Unfortunately, some of our snowmobile guys, it being pushed back so late, it made it so they had to be prepping for winter season, which the first snowcross race kicks off here Thanksgiving weekend, and that's right around the corner. And there's no snow here in Minnesota right now, so they're all out west somewhere testing. So those guys kind of couldn't make it, and they're all bummed out. But then Brandon and all these other people were able to come in, the Morels and Rockstar helping out with those guys, and just brought a whole nother level. And again, it just elevated the experience of Terracross and the exposure for it. And again, that's what brought up these other event sites that are calling us and want to do more events. We've got some winter stuff in the works right now. We have some very big interest in some winter Terracross. As you know, we kicked it off last year, and you were there, and like you said, and Jeremy said, it's probably one of the funnest things you could ever do with a vehicle.
Yeah, well, and that's what's funny, because I've had a lot of guys that race Terracross that didn't make it up there, and I think there was just, there was a small handful of us that went up there, but you ask Cole Coutu or Jeremy or myself or anybody that was there, and I know you burned in some laps there, and I mean, just sheer fun factor running those things on the snow, and and there was a little bit of ice mixed in there. It was just absolutely some of the most fun I've ever had, and I would love to be able to do some more stuff on the snow and ice.
Yeah, we're looking at that first weekend of April back at Crested Butte there as another winter Terracross and ultimate snowmobiler event. We're trying to get that all wrapped up here in the next couple of weeks. But that could be a really big event now, with that being a pretty much open weekend for anybody to come out with their own razors and come out and participate in winter Terracross. And we tried some studded tires last year, and they were good, but actually the non-studded tires I think ended up to be the best. So some pretty cool things in the works for some potential winter Terracross. And of course, the big stuff is 2016 Terracross and who's coming on board, and we've got some big name athletes and some celebrities. Hubert Rowland, everyone's favorite redneck, is going to head up our Celebrity X class, and we were trying to get him on the phone with us here this morning, but I think he's off building some dirt as the dirt surgeon he is, and we are putting together one cool celebrity class, and it's going to be headed up by Hubert, and he is going to invite people, over social media and have them come in and get some training in one of these Polaris RZR 1000s, and then going to be able to compete against them. And he's going to kind of head that program up for us and put together one heck of a Celebrity X program. So really excited about that for 2016. And for those of them that have been watching the Terracross and the television show and Camp RZR and Heydays, our Hero Adaptive, our Hero Military class was kicked off this year, powered by Monster Energy, and that was one heck of a successful, very short, very limited abilities. But Paul Thacker and the whole team just did a great job with that, and really excited about helping out the vets and bringing the military program into the fold for 2016 with Terracross. And we have lots of major partners outside of the industry, non-endemics that are very excited about being a part of the Hero class for 2016.
Well, yeah, and we mentioned the Hero class, we mentioned the new Celebrity division. Obviously, we have the Pro Men's division coming back, but got to talk about the Women's division. And I think from what I understand, you're pretty well got that locked up this next year for a full 10 lady field, correct?
Well, we call that the Jim Beaver Women's class. Seeing as how you had connections to every one of them and sent every one of them our way. But yeah, we can only run, with our schedule and how we're set up, we're very limited on entries in all these classes. So we can actually only run 10 women in the class, 2 heats of 5, final of 10, and we have 13 women signed up right now that are out getting their partnerships. And so we will have a full field of 10 come the first round of Terracross next year. And like I've always said, I think the women's class has been, and now even more, will be one of the most exciting racing out there. I mean, Sarah Price really dominated this year, but Katie and Shelby and then you had Jamie Luber come out for our Terracross experience. I think you are going to see one heck of a women's class on the course as well as on social media for next year. And that's going to be that's exciting to come out. And we have a couple other announcements up our sleeve, but we'll save those for down the road that we're working on with Polaris right now, and could be some pretty cool, pretty big things to announce for the 2016 season. And pretty excited when these things come together.
Yeah, it seems like things have just been steamrolling for the series. But we got to talk about TV real quick. You mentioned CBS Sports, but I know things kind of wrapped up at Camp RZR a week or so back. But we still got that TV going to air. I know you've got air dates set already, and talk about some solid air dates for the next 2 rounds of Terracross.
Again, I think we've really proven our production team is amazing, and they do it on a shoestring budget. As you know, we're not filthy rich, and they do it on a shoestring budget, but they do X Games caliber production on a dime budget, and it shows in the people watching it, and it shows in the people that call people like yourself and our other athletes and say, hey, I saw you on CBS Sports on Terracross, and it's like it's just amazing what they do with what we're able to give them, and they turn around and the payoff is CBS Sports sticks us in these amazing time slots. Sunday night of Thanksgiving weekend, unbelievable air times, and our re-airs are just as good as our original airs. So between Sunday night of Thanksgiving weekend and then December 5th Sunday night, and you can find all the exact details on Terracross Championship on Facebook or terracrossracing.com. But the air dates and the feedback and the commercial inventory that they're sticking in our shows just goes to show that we have something. We have something pretty special. And again, it goes back to all of the athletes and their participation and their social media posts and wanting to be a part of it and being a part of it, not just showing up and racing, but being a part of the whole organization and feeling a part of it and growing with us together.
Yeah. Well, and talking about growing, I think, I look at Terracross and I look at, UTV racing as a whole, and we all know the UTV industry, especially in the past 3 to 4 years, it's just kind of blown up, and I don't think anybody ever realized it was going to get as big as it did. Obviously, Polaris RZR has been, pretty much, ahead of the pack, in regards to that and pushing this industry and helping develop things. But, I view Terracross. I mean, I look at, there's some amazing UTV championships, but a lot of people don't know about them. I mean, Terracross, you've got the biggest names from all these championships. They're running Terracross. You've got hands down the best TV out of any of them. I mean, this is, it's quickly become, the premier UTV racing series in the U.S.
Well, we kind of, as you know, being a part of this, we kind of went it the backwards way of most people do. You try and build something from the bottom up. Well, with our experience of 20 plus years of running events and 18 plus years of X Games and multiple television series, we kind of went backwards and we started from the top and working down. And now we have event sites calling us on a bi-weekly basis of hey, we want Terracross here. And, our business model doesn't allow us to go to a lot of these places, but what it's showing us is that there's an availability at event sites around the country for Terracross and the local communities, and we're going to start building those now and having event sites and test facilities around the country for Terracross type racing, and then that will grow to qualifying and being able to build up to get into Terracross and having a way to move up the ranks to become a part of the Ultimate Series.
Well, and I think that was, one thing. I know I've had fans reach out to me. Hey, when is Terracross going to come to my, area of the country? And, and obviously, it's a 3-round championship. There's room to definitely expand. I know, you don't want a 10 or 15 round championship. I don't think that was ever the goal. But, I mean, are we going to see a lot of like these Terracross experiences like we saw at Charlotte, where fans can come out and check it out, and you'll have, a good group of drivers and out there racing and kind of, an immersion thing where you get some other drivers from other motorsports in the cars and just kind of like it's called the Terracross experience?
That's part of our 5-year business model, is that we'll be able to do these events around the country and be able to bring in top-level athletes. And again, a non-points, non-television, but to be able to get exposure and social media and maybe some live streaming and go to other events that already exist that need a little boost and have a little something else at those events, and that is a big part of our future, as well as with the Hero class. We're working on some stuff with three different military outlets right now, where we're actually going to take the Terracross experience and Paul Thacker and some other drivers, and we're actually going to go to these military sites, and we're going to be able to do some events there, some training, some test drives, some rides, and be able to expand on that Terracross experience for our vets and our current soldiers.
Yeah, and talking about that, the adaptive, the Hero class and adaptive, I mean, I've been hit up by, I think, 3 different, guys that fall into that category, and just recently out at Nitro Circus this past weekend, I mean, Bruce Cook, who, everybody knows, the first adaptive backflip on a dirt bike, he's like, Jimmy, I want to get in the adaptive class in Terracross. He's like, hook me up with Joe and Paul. He's like, I want to do it, and it's just, I think, everybody from action sports, motorsports are aware of Terracross, and I mean, men, women, it doesn't matter. I mean, everybody wants in and wants to drive a car.
Well, again, it goes back to the team we've assembled, yourself and our production crew and television and the athletes and the celebrities, and it wasn't, it wasn't by chance. There was a method to our madness. It just, I think, took a little bit longer than we thought it was going to, but in the end, it's a very simple, easy program for people to get involved with. Whether you're a racer, a celebrity, a partner, it's a very simple, very cost-effective way to go racing, and it doesn't take up everybody's time and efforts. You're able to fly in, you're able to race, you're able to fly out Graham and Lucas and the twins and our mechanics crew is so amazing that these guys are like, they put 100% trust into them, and these guys pull in to fix the machines. They go back out. So when you have a crew like that and you're able to put that whole team together, that's what does it. And it's all about the team effort, and it's everybody working together to build it. It's not about Terracross itself. It's about the whole team and everybody involved, from, obviously Polaris Industries and the Razors and Mystic Lubricants and all of their products that keep our machines going, and Walker Evans and Fox and Pro Armor and PRP Seats, and the list goes on and on and on of all of our partners that are involved and help make this thing what it is. GVC tires, Walker Evans rims, those things you just can't be without or do without out there on the track, that makes it possible for us to do what we do, and then it can expand into what it's become here. It's just a great feeling to have everybody be a part of it and want to grow it, and it's excited for the future. That's for sure.
Yeah. Well, looking at 2016, I know you said we're 30 to 60 days out for some announcements. Anything you can give some of the fans out there? Any venues that are going to be back, or is it just wait and see for the schedule drop?
Honestly, I think it's a wait and see, for the simple fact that we do have a lot of options out there, and a lot of great things have come out of the 2015 season with. Obviously Camp Razor was huge. Our San Diego event was even bigger and better than it's ever been before. And heydays, we've never seen people stay that late at heydays before and be able to stay around and fill the grandstands and the fence lines for our racing. We had one of the best tracks ever at heydays. And then after, the Charlotte deal, which we still went out there and pulled off a Terracross experience and all the. So there wasn't any spectators there because it rained all the way through, and it was a mud race. It was one of the funnest events we've ever done, and everybody loved it. And then you come off of that, and you're like, oh, what are we going to do? Where are we going to go? We don't have a set place. And then to fall into a partnership with Polaris and Six Speed and all the great things, although very expensive, all the great things that came out of that event, and the relationship that we have with Polaris and these guys, to be able to build that and put it under the Muscat Lites. There's a lot of positive things out there, and there's a lot of people looking at options with Terracross. The other thing that we need is all the other events, schedules, because as we don't run 6, 8, 10 events and just have our own little world. We like to run 3, maybe 4 events, because we want to make sure all these people can come and they can still go do all the other things they want to do, whether they surf or they're in the MMA or they're in off-road trucks or rally cars or dirt bikes or freestyle or X Games or whatever all the other stuff is that they like to do, or maybe that's how they make their living. We want to make sure they can go do those things and they can still come and play with Terracross on their off time. And so we really try and make sure that we don't conflict with a lot of other series. There's never a way to be able to make sure everybody can make it. But in the end, to be able to make it so the majority of them can make it, and now that we're becoming a premier series for some people and that's their focus, it's a little bit easier for us. But in the end, we want to make sure that these people can make it. And same thing in the Nitro Circus guys. We got 3 or 4 from there, and some other disciplines that are coming to play. And it's great that they're all able to make it if we do the schedule right.
Yeah. Well, and talking about the venues, it's one thing I really liked about Terracross this year. It seems like every venue is different, and it brings its own set of challenges for drivers. And other than Luberg, we didn't see anybody that was really great at all the venues. And I think it was just Luberg's consistency that ended up winning out. Where he was able to adapt to all of them. But I think that's what's great. You may show up to one and not be good, but then you show up to the next one and it caters to a whole different driving style. And I really think that's what makes Terracross great, is that it doesn't suit just one type of driver. You have to bring a lot of different things to the table to be successful.
Well, and again, it goes back to our business model. You look at any form of racing, and what do you want at the end of racing? You want great racing. You want passing. You want excitement. You want rollovers. You maybe want a crash or two, safely, mind you. But in the end, you want all that stuff. And what we try and deliver is all of that at these different venues. And then you start throwing in the changes between, a race where you're racing indoor and outdoor at San Diego. And then you come to heydays and you're in the dirt and, somewhat could be muddy and clay base area. And then you throw a complete loop in it and you go to Glamis, California with all sand. And to be honest, we were worried about that one. Jeremy and I went out, 3 weeks beforehand and did a site survey, and we're like, well, you know what? It's going to be a whooped out sand course, and here's what it's going to be. But thanks to Tim Gantz and some other sand experts out there, and then our great course building crew, they made one of the best tracks we ever could have had, and some unique concepts on how to build the courses and how to keep the jump faces to stay, and got very creative. But in the end, it actually was one of our best tracks we ever had. But you had three, completely different courses, and that's, again, it just goes back to our business model. We're not we're not an oval NASCAR track. We don't have we try and have different features, and we definitely, in every track, we have multiple lines. It's like having a joker lane in every section of the course, because there's always multiple lines created for passing.
Yeah, it's and tons and tons of passing, and going back to Glamis, I know that was first time a lot of guys had ever actually driven in sand, and I know you told me, hey, we're going to put on an event on at Glamis, and I wasn't able to run that because I had some other obligations, but I remember going, man, I wonder how this is going to work out. But actually going out there for the day I did, I mean, it was. I would have never expected to see a course built in the sand like that. And like you said, I think it lent itself to some amazing racing, and people are going to be really excited when they see these TV shows drop later this month.
Yeah, and you and me both. I mean, honestly, we never thought we could have a course like that. We had a 75-foot step down, and the guys went out there and started hitting it, and they were like, wow. This is insane. And we had these special ways that we held up the faces of the jump, and we went out there and pounded on that thing in some tests to see what was going to happen, and it held up. And then you get RJ, who comes out. He takes his first lap. I mean, he's got a lot of other stuff going on at Camp Razor and that, so he didn't have a lot of time to be over there. They went and walked the course. He come out and stepped down that thing. His first time, went almost 85 feet into the bottom of the hole, and unfortunately, a lot of the people couldn't see how big that was, because it had to be away from the spectators. But it was all said and done. He jumped in his first jump 85 feet into a hole, and boom, landed, rolled back, jumped back out, and it was insane. We actually had to dig the hole a little bit deeper later that day to make sure that you had all the transition you could get there, and then something to scrub some speed on the other side. But it really turned out to be an amazing track, and had all elements you'd want in racing, and it showed in the drivers. I mean, again, it just showed in what came out of the racing itself. And yeah, I think Jason is a very consistent racer, so that really helps him out. He did get a win out there, so that was awesome for him to pull off a win. But in the end, if you look at the overall picture of racing, it was just downright great head-to-head racing, and there was no one that was dominating.
Yeah, no, every single venue. I mean, you got a guy, a kid, in Mitch Guthrie, who, I had talked, and going into the year, I mean, Mitch's kid's won King of the Hammers, and a ton of works races, and going in, I'm going, this kid's going to dominate, and and he struggled. He ended up taking a win at the end, but he had ups and downs, and it just you can't pick a winner. I mean, RJ'd be the easy one to anoint and say, yeah, he's going to win everything, but he struggled at times this year. It's just that's what's great about the series. Yeah,
it's just like, again, when you come back around to it, it's just everybody coming together. It's again, the racers, the mechanics, the staff, the crew, the Polaris, Mystic, Walker Evans Fox, you name it, they all just come together. You and your exposure. I mean, you help us a ton, and those are the things that we all work together. And when you do that, it makes a big difference versus we're the race series, you're just the racer, or we're the race series, you're just a sponsor. We don't have that mentality, and it shows when you grow it like this, and everybody's working together. It's a team effort. It's not an I thing.
Yeah, for sure. Well, we got to let you go, buddy, but before we let you go, give us the details on the TV one more time with those air dates, because I think everybody needs to get their DVRs locked and loaded for that.
Yeah, TV Sunday night of Thanksgiving weekend. I don't have the times in front of me here, but Sunday night of Thanksgiving weekend and December 5th, Sunday night, are our 2 air dates. And you can go to Terracross Championship, has that up on there, and TerracrossRacing.com has the exact details, air dates, end times, and also I believe the re-airs are up on there as well. And they can pull that up and come check it out. I think people are going to be pretty amazed when they watch the Glamis Camp Razor Terracross show, because the things that the guys did with the course and the actual racing was amazing.
Yeah, for sure. Well, I appreciate your time, Joe, and looking forward to all these 2016 announcements as they roll out.
Sounds great. Thanks, Jimmy. Thank you for your support and all the help you give us.
All right. Thanks, Joe.
All right. Talk to you soon.
Yeah,
Bye.
You too. All right, that was Joe Duncan with the Terracross Championship, giving you a little bit of the details on 2016, and I'm kind of gag-ordered on some of them, but I got to tell you, it's going to be a huge year for Terracross. So definitely be locked and loaded, tuned into those CBS Sports broadcasts, and I will definitely get them up on social media as we get closer. But we're going to take a short break. When we come back, lots of rally talk. We're going to talk some Recoil 3, Baja 1000, and who knows what else in the next segment. It's going to be 30 minutes of me talking, and you know what? Things generally can get out of hand when I'm talking for 30 minutes straight. So hang tight, and we'll be back at you with more of the Down and Dirty Radio Show, powered by Polaris Razor.
I'm Polaris rider Levi LaValle, and I choose Polaris just because they have the best quality, highest performing, most fun machines out there.
Only one company has taken Levi LaValle to 10 X Games medals, snowcross championships, a double backflip, and a world record long jump of 412 feet across the San Diego Harbor on New Year's Eve, and that company is Polaris. Whether it's dominating the X Games, racing a stock Polaris Razor XP 1000 in the Terracross Championship, or just hitting the trail on the weekend, for over 20 years, Levi has relied on the same quality Polaris vehicles and products you can purchase at your local Polaris dealer. Take the advice of action sports legend Levi LaValle and visit Polaris on the web at Polaris.com to see the full lineup of Polaris vehicles, or follow them on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at Polaris Razor. For 100 years, General Tire has provided tires for your lifestyle, your adventure, your anywhere. Born from competition, the Grabber tire offers the durability and off-road traction you demand in a tire. We put these tires to the test in the harshest off-road racing conditions to give you a tire that will make your anywhere possible. So let us take you on your next big adventure. Tweet us photos at General Tire, hashtag anywhere is possible. Because with General Tire, anywhere is possible. Baja, check. King of the Hammers, check. Crandon, check. The Mint 400, check. Only one wheel company can say they have dominated the deserts and rocks of the Southwest to the mud and carnage of the big house at Crandon, and that company is KMC Wheels. KMC Wheels has won them all with the help of elite drivers like Travis Pastrana, Ricky Johnson, Bryce Menzies, Carl Renazetter, and Lauren Healy, who all rely on the XT Series from KMC Wheels to get them to the finish line and on top of the podium. Check out KMC Wheels and their full line of XT Series wheels at KMCWheels.com or on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at KMC Wheels. KMC Wheels, like no other. Are you looking for a place to push yourself behind the wheel and see how your driving skills stack up? Dirtfish Rally School is that place. Located on 315 acres of pristine automotive playground at the foot of the Cascade Mountains in Snoqualmie, Washington, right outside of Seattle, Dirtfish Rally School is a one-of-a-kind place where everyone from first-time drivers to seasoned professionals like Bucky Lassick and Antoine Lestage can push themselves to their limit. Whether driving the high-performance rally-prepped all-wheel drive Subaru Impreza STI is what you're looking for, or you'd rather hang it all out in the rear-wheel drive Subaru BRZs, Dirtfish Rally School has something for everyone. Classes are available from 2 hours to 3 full days and feature instructors with over 150 years of combined racing experience. Whether you're looking to become the best and get an edge on the competition, or just looking to freshen your skills behind the wheel, Dirtfish Rally School is the place to go. For more information on registering for classes, visit Dirtfish on the web at dirtfish.com, or to check out the latest happenings from Dirtfish, follow them on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at Dirtfish Rally.
Get on and go. Go where the jackpots flow like the mighty Colorado River. And go for free. Blue Water Resort and Casino now offers free bus transportation from the Lake Havasu City area. Just hop on and we'll do the driving. And convenient, 3 pickup times on Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and Saturday. Pickup points are Bash's South Side on Maricopa and the London Bridge Swap Meet parking lot. Seating limited to the first 28 passengers per bus. First come, first serve. Call 888-243-3360. That's 888-243-3360. Or visit BlueWaterFun.com.
Rigid Industries is the original and #1 LED light bar manufacturer in the world. Torture tested by some of the best drivers in motorsports. Rigid LED lighting products use cutting-edge technology and can stand up to the harshest conditions Mother Nature can dish out. Designed, engineered, and assembled in the United States, Rigid LED lighting is the only choice for your off-road vehicle or boat. Find out more information on the entire line of Rigid Industries LED lighting products at www.rigidindustries.com.
Life is all about sound. The sound of sports, the sound at the racetrack, and the sound of your vehicle. Don't drive around listening to this. Drive around listening to the sound of performance. Gibson Performance. Gibson Performance Exhaust is the company who can turn this into this. Remember that life is all about sound, and Gibson Exhaust is the sound of performance. Check out your next catback exhaust system, headers, muffler, or UTV exhaust at GibsonPerformance.com and get more power and more sound.
Welcome back to the Down and Dirty Radio Show, powered by Polaris Razor. Jim Beaver in the house. Just got done with Joe Duncan and talking Terracross Championship in 2016. And, man, it's going to be a great year for Terracross. But a couple of things happened over the weekend, man. Huge weekend. And, the biggest thing is the thing that happened in Paris. I mean, we don't get into politics on this show, and we're not going to get into politics. But, I was actually looking through our demographics of the show, over the weekend, and got a huge following, in the United States, obviously, Canada, a little bit in Mexico, huge following in the UK and Australia. But probably right there in the top 5 is our listenership from France. So I just want you listeners from France to know we were definitely thinking of you. And man, just talk about a devastating, just ridiculous. I mean, terrorism. These are people that just absolutely heartless. They're not even human. It's all I can say. I mean, I remember back to 9/11 and what everybody thought about, and afterwards, and how we all came together, and literally the world had our back, and I feel like that's happening with what happened in Paris as well. It's just definitely devastating. So to all our French listeners, definitely know that we are thinking of you. And, I guess on a lighter note, not necessarily lighter if you're a Ronda Rousey fan, but Ronda Rousey, who saw that coming, just absolutely worked over by Holly Holm. That's the easiest way to put it, worked over. I don't know if you're an MMA fan. I'm assuming if you listen to this show, kind of an action motorsports fan, you're probably an MMA fan. There's probably some of you that don't give a rip about it. I'm a big MMA fan. We don't talk about it on this show. I mean, it doesn't really fit in too much, but I'm a Ronda Rousey fan. I've read her book. I definitely think she's definitely done some amazing things, especially with women, empowering women, and to be the best version of themselves. And myself, I've been open about it. I'm a Miesha Tate fan. If Miesha and Rousey go to a third match at some point, I'm going to be pulling for Miesha. I'll be honest with you, but I am definitely a Rousey fan. And you want to talk about some fair weather fans, though. I mean, I was going for Rousey over home. I'm not even going to say I was going for home. I was going for Rousey over home. I've bought into the hype train, and I love watching Rousey fight and just destroy opponents. And I was pulling for, Holm shocks the world, and props to Holly Holm for doing it. And the rest of you Ronda Rousey fans, where did you go? You guys are fair weather fans. Here's a woman everybody jumped on the hype train. I bought into it. I'll own up. But, she gets a loss, and we all knew probably eventually it was coming, and just, who knows? I mean, lots of excuses. Her camp's got excuses. Me personally, I think, it was the whole Apollo Creed, Rocky Balboa thing. I think maybe she didn't take home quite as serious as she should have. I think she was doing more PR and appearances than she was actually training for the fight. For whatever reason, Holm got the best of her. But you that called yourselves Ronda Rousey fans 2 days ago, immediately you jump on the hate train and, jump off the hype train onto the hate train, and now you're throwing Rousey under the bus and yay Holm. And I got no use for people like you. I mean, come on. Stick with your fighter. I mean, if you want to become a Holm fan now as well as a Rousey fan, great, but don't throw Rousey under the bus for one loss, because as soon as she wins the title back, which she probably is going to do, you guys are going to be back on the Rousey train. I just can't stand that. It's the same in motorsports, A lot of you guys hated Jeff Gordon, and now he's leading the NASCAR chase. And we don't even talk about NASCAR. We're talking about MMA and NASCAR in one segment on this show. I don't know. Hell's freezing over right now, I guess. But, now he's got a shot at the title, and everybody's jumping on the Jeff Gordon, bandwagon. It's like, come on, man. Ride or die with the people you like. Don't throw them under the bus when times get tough. It's just crazy. But that's my thoughts on the matter. Anyways, but we'll switch gears and move into a little more traditional talk on the show. I guess if anything's traditional, I don't know. But anyways, I want to know your thoughts on just about anything, whether it's motorsports, rally, Paris, Ronda Rousey. I don't know. At Jim Beaver 15, hit me up. I love your tweets, love your messages. Once in a while we get to compiling them all and ask them on the show, and and we'll definitely we got a bunch of them in the hopper. We're gonna have to do that sometime soon. Amy and I both love getting your questions, your input, and your thoughts on just about anything. So there you go. But right now we're gonna switch gears. We got a Dirtfish Rally report for you, coming to you from our good friends at Dirtfish Rally School. Find out more information on the web at www.dirtfish.com. Make your way up there to Snoqualmie and get in on those classes. You want a discount code? I've got a personal discount code. Go over to downanddirtyshow.com. Pull up just about any of our back episodes or recent ones, and right there is going to be a coupon code. Plug that in on Dirtfish's website. Bam! Instant discount, courtesy of Jim Beaver and the Down and Dirty Radio Show. So, talking quite a bit of money if you get a 3-day class up there. But I got to tell you, whether you're a good driver, bad driver, never driven stick shift, or race rally yourself, it doesn't matter. If you're a circle track guy, I don't know, whatever. Go up to Dirtfish. You'll have fun. Bring the family. Bring your wife. I mean, everybody has fun at Dirtfish. So, it's my home away from home. I call it up there. Love going up to Dirtfish and spending some time up there. But tons of rally action over the weekend. Well, I don't want to say tons of rally action. One rally, but there was a ton of news coming out. But do want to we'll throw in some WRC coverage here, because the big one is World Rally Championship rounding things out. with Rally GB there in Wales. And, the big news is everybody knows Sebastian had this thing wrapped up, and, once again, he wins. Volkswagen, taking the title, taking the championship, taking the win there. I mean, we all kind of had a feeling that was going to happen. Meek in second, Mickelson third, Sordo and Padden. Evans Osberg is your top 7 there. But the big one is David Higgins, Rally America champ, perfect season this year in Rally America. He was going to go and run a WRC event. I think that was what everybody was excited about. He started out, we're not talking, he wasn't running against Sebastian and Meek and Mickelson and those boys up there. I mean, he wasn't running wasn't running against them. His Rally America car that he just won the national championship, every bit as fast as a WRC car. Probably with the motor rules, actually might be a little bit faster than a WRC car. No joke. So just so he wasn't running. It was more of it was a limited class car. But he ended up entering. It was. It was a car he'd really never driven before until a week before the rally. Tested it over there in the UK and decided to go out and have some fun. And him and Craig Drew, just going to see how things shaped up. Had a great Colin McRae livery on the car. Kind of a nod to Colin in a car that is a livery that he'd won a championship with prior. It was the anniversary of that livery. So Higgins and Drew kind of tipping the cap, a nod to Colin McRae, and ended up ultimately getting 20th outright and winning their class. And I'm going to read some notes. Good friend Mike Shaw at Oregon Wings on Twitter. I kind of half paid attention to this rally over the weekend. Honestly, I was just keeping dibs on David. Past that, I really didn't pay much attention. I mean, David, a good friend of mine, so is Craig Drew. Wanted to see how they were doing. I was at Nitro Circus in Phoenix. Had a 7-year-old daughter who had a birthday party. Trust me, my weekend was packed. So I'm going to read some notes. My good friend Mike Shaw, the Open Paddock podcast. You definitely want to check them out. They dive into rally a little bit deeper than we do here on the show. We kind of give you the once over and the glance. They really in their podcast dive into the meat of things, and especially in stage rally with WRC and Rally America. So definitely go and check that out. Open Paddock podcast. And go check out their website as well. But Mike Shaw at Oregon Wings shot me some messages this morning, so I'm just going to read them literally in their entirety. On Higgins and what actually happened in the WRC, because he watches and follows WRC as much as anybody I've ever seen in this country. He's on point. He knows his WRC. You don't argue with Mike Shaw. So here we go. David Higgins, Wales Rally GB. He started 54th. Ended the first day in 26th position. That night, he had a few minor brake issues. But he said, and I saw this on Twitter, because of the way the layout was with the shifter and the handbrake, he accidentally kept reaching and grabbing the handbrake every time he wanted to shift gears. He was running Group N base car used in Europe. It's production based. They kept sending him way too far down the order, and so he kept having to pass cars on stage. Because of the car. I mean, David. He's. I would count David as one of. I don't know. I mean, I hate giving lists of who the greatest rally drivers currently in the world. Higgins. I definitely, let's just say he's top 20. I mean, he's one of the 20 best rally drivers in the world. Nobody's going to dispute that. If you want to go, I think Higgins is top 5, he might be. I don't know. I mean, it's just one of those things. It's a lot of opinion. Let's just say Higgins is top 20, probably a top 10 rally driver. You give him the Volkswagen of Sebastian's, and he's going to dominate, wherever he's at. But his Subaru is no slouch. He's dominating in that, too. Would have been interesting to see that run in the WRC, but that's a whole other story for a whole different day. But anyways, they put him in the typical spot a Group N driver would. But Higgins drew obviously faster, underestimated their performance. In the end, 20th overall. And as Mike says, it was significant considering the car and especially that they're celebrating the 20th anniversary of McRae's championship win. So 20 for 20, not bad. I completely agree. Finished 8th in WRC 2 category, beating mini cars twice the price and the performance. The next group in car was very far behind where they were at, and then weather was pretty much horrid at the entire rally, but huge fan base there. This is one of the iconic rallies. It's not the Rally GB of old, but it is one of the most iconic and rallies on the entire calendar, and they didn't even cancel any stages. Ran in the horrible conditions, and just game on. Those UK rally fans, you don't want to mess with them. So there you go, Rally GB, David Higgins, 20th position. Got to give a big shout out to Mike Shaw at Oregon Wings for all the info, and definitely check out the Open Paddock podcast for even more information on that. But there you go, Sebastian wrapping up the championship. Phenomenal 2015, absolutely dominant by him. We're showing flashes of Sebastian Loeb. It must be the name Sebastian there, but it's he's definitely showing flashes of Loeb. That kind of dominant effort. And Volkswagen, talk about a banner year for Volkswagen, winning the WRC championship, winning the Global Rallycross championship. Good year for Volkswagen Motorsport, absolutely. So there you go, David Higgins. 20th place, winning his division, and great effort by him and Craig Drew. And I don't think anybody saw him doing that well in that car. Given the right car, I think he's a top 5 WRC driver. But it was definitely a great moment for Higgins and Drew and anybody that's a fan of Colin McRae. And it had to be special for him. He runs here in the States. Had to been really special for him to be running over there in in Europe. In his home country for sure. GRC news, Red Bull GRC. I'm getting a little long-winded today, but Red Bull GRC announced a Global Rallycross Racing Entitlement Program. Basically, the way I read this, is pretty cool. If you're a rally fan, you definitely need to read into it, but they're going to franchise teams almost. Limited number of racing entries, guaranteed entitlement to race in all series events. The entitlements you actually own, you can sell them or transfer them. And you get to participate in revenue sharing in the future, and creates equity in GRC. And this is awesome. Obviously it's a lot similar to what you see in in Major League Baseball, NFL, motorsports. Motorsports, it's a different. It's a bit different. Not a lot of. I know Formula One teams get a little bit of revenue. It's a little weird, but GRC, definitely on the bleeding edge. I'm gonna have to see how this works out. Obviously, they put out a press release. Not a lot of info, but definitely big news, especially if you're a current GRC team, to have brand equity in the series and something that you can actually sell. And especially if they're capping things, if they open it up to 25 or 30 entries, obviously, that kind of defeats the purpose. But if they're going to keep the entries low and you get to have ownership over one of those spots, big deal. And then Rally America announcing a national championship, similar to this year, 2016 Rally America National Championship, similar to 2015. Same rallies, Snowdrift in Michigan, 100 Acre Wood, Oregon Trail, Olympus, STPR, New England, Ojibwe, and Lake Superior. But the biggest thing was 100 Acre getting pushed back 3 weeks to a month. From late February to late March. What that's going to do, 2 out of the last 3 years, it's turned into a snow and ice rally, and it's not supposed to be. Moving it back by a month, weekend after the Mint 400, they're going to dodge the bullet there, and then weather should be a whole lot better in Missouri and not have to worry about snow and ice. So, I think that's definitely a great move. Great move by them. Basically, securing a lot better weather. It might be wet, but it's not going to be snowy and icy. So definitely a solid move by Rally America for that. And that is, I guess I was going to say that is your Dirtfish Rally Report for this week. Do want to make one quick mention, though. Liddon Hill They just added a charity cancer research event the 2nd of January, reviving their New Year's Rallycross Bash. So if you're from the UK or a fan of Rallycross, hopefully they got some live streaming of that. But Linden Hill definitely going to have a New Year's event there at Linden Hill, a Rallycross event. Supercars welcome, lights cars, touring cars, a lot of different race vehicles. Obviously, it's not going to be on the World Rallycross calendar, but cool event there. Looking forward to seeing an entry list. I'm sure you're going to have a lot of UK-based drivers show up for that. Should be fun. But yeah, that is your Dirtfish Rally Report for this week, brought to you by our good friends at Dirtfish Rally School. Find out more information on the web, www.dirtfish.com. And yeah, it's man, we're just rocking and rolling through all this news. Baja 1000, that's this week. That's kind of part of the reason why we've had a bit of kind of a weird guest list today. Is everybody I know is down in Mexico, but Baja 1000 kicking off this week, November 20th, 21st, contingency in Ensenada, start and finish in Ensenada, 840 miles, running a bit different this year. They're running down the Pacific side. A lot of times, like Baja 500 and that, you start, cut across to O's, cut across to the inland peninsula side towards San Felipe, running it reverse this year. Starting out in Ensenada, runs to O's, down the Pacific side, almost 500 miles down the coast, and then turn around and comes up through San Felipe, cuts back across to Ensenada. So Baja 1000, it is happening this week, and man, entry list for this one is solid. I mean, trophy trucks, I think we're looking at 30 some entries for trophy truck. And it's going to be great. I mean, Baja 1000. This is the biggest, baddest desert race of the year. It's the one you want to win. It's the one that makes careers. It's the one that gets you sponsors. And this is the one that you definitely want to win. So that happening this week. Down there in Ensenada. So if you're in San Diego, might want to skip down for the day, watch start, finish, watch contingency. I don't know, but definitely take it all in. Race-desert.com. That's going to be your home for all information on the Baja 1000, whether there's live stream or not with Score. I haven't heard yet. If there is, Race Desert will be able to forward you over there, and I would definitely go and check out our friends at race-desert.com for all that information. And then last week, as we went off air, forgot to mention, I know we mentioned it was going to air, but Tuesday, Recoil 3 drop with BJ Baldwin, and in a day and age where we've become accustomed to quote viral films, I definitely got to give BJ Baldwin some credit. Completely blew my mind. I mean, it takes a lot for me to sit through an 8-minute YouTube video at this point in time. I've seen them all, and Recoil 3, the best one I've seen in recent memory. I would say it's better than a lot of the recent Gymkhanas. I'm not going to say it was better than XP1Ks. I really loved RJ's most recent release. It's definitely better than some of the XP1Ks, better than some of the Recoils. I don't know. You can, whether it be XP1K, Recoil, or Gymkhana, everybody's got their favorites, in each series. And Recoil at number 3, absolutely my favorite. And it was the first time ever watching a viral video. RJ does some stuff that is pretty hairy in XP1K. But this is the first time I've ever seen something in one of these videos where I went, there is absolutely no way on earth I would ever even attempt to do that. And that's when BJ jumped his truck into the arena to wrap things up. I mean, it was like a 180-foot jump, gap jump, doubles with, dirt into the arena. That's where I draw the line. You want to know where Jim Beaver says, no way, I'm never attempting, never doing that? It was there in that moment. I watched that. I've replayed it like probably 15 times since then. I draw the line there. It is never, ever, ever happening. You can take that one to the bank. I saw that, and I don't know if BJ set a record or not, but it's a record I'm never going to even attempt to try. That was just absolute shenanigans. It was nutty. Props to BJ for doing that. I shot him a text and just said, dude, you blew me away with this one, and congrats goes out to him and everybody that put that in the production. Great storyline, bringing in the Sasquatch and the whole works, and yeah, I mean, it definitely infused a lot of BJ's personality into it. So definitely check that out. I posted up on my Facebook page, and I know it's all over the internet by now, quote, viral video, but yeah, definitely worth the time. So we're going to take a short commercial break, and we come back. Tanner Whitten, GRC Lites driver, he's going to be calling into the show. We're going to be talking about 2015 and what's in store for Tanner in 2016. All that and more as we kick off hour number 2 of the Down and Dirty Radio Show, powered by Polaris RZR, when we come back.
Hey, I'm RJ Anderson, factory Polaris driver, and I drive Polaris because it's the most capable, race-ready off-road vehicle on the market.
When R.J. Anderson wanted to set a world record for the longest UTV jump in history, not once but twice, what company did he trust? Polaris and their championship-winning RZR XP1000. R.J. is a UTV champion behind the wheel of Polaris vehicles, and he exclusively trusts the Polaris RZRs to bring him race wins and championships against some of the toughest off-road racers in the world. The same Polaris RZRs RJ has won championships in, set world records in, and conquered the Wall of Death in XP1K2 are available to you at your local Polaris dealer. Take the advice of world record holder RJ Anderson and visit Polaris on the web at Polaris.com to see the full lineup of Polaris RZR vehicles, or follow them on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at Polaris RZR. Your life demands a tire that provides durability, comfort, and performance, and that's what General Tire delivers for you. From the all-season grip of the Grabber UHP to the comfort and on-road manners of the Grabber HTS to the durability and off-road traction of the Grabber AT2, General has a tire that will help get you where you need to go. So let us take you on your next big adventure. Tweet us at General Tire, hashtag anywhere is possible, because with General Tire, anywhere is possible. Baja, check. King of the Hammers, check. Crandon, check. The Mint 400, check. Only one wheel company can say they have dominated the deserts and rocks of the Southwest to the mud and carnage of the big house at Crandon, and that company is KMC Wheels. KMC Wheels has won them all with the help of elite drivers like Travis Pastrana, Ricky Johnson, Bryce Menzies, Carl Renazetter, and Lauren Healy, who all rely on the XD Series from KMC Wheels to get them to the finish line and on top of the podium. Check out KMC Wheels and their full line of XD Series wheels at KMCWheels.com or on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at KMC Wheels. KMC Wheels, like no other. Looking to have some fun on four wheels? Dirtfish Rally School has you covered. Packing as much adrenaline and adventure as you can handle into high-performance all-wheel drive and rear-wheel drive Subaru rally cars is where the fun begins at Dirtfish. Just 30 minutes outside of Seattle in Snoqualmie, you'll get a chance to train up to 3 full days with some of the country's best instructors and be put through the high-octane rush of rally on mud, dirt, and tarmac. Get started today and call 425-888-7715 or visit us online at dirtfish.com and use code 911 for a 15% discount.
Life is all about sound, the sound of sports, the sound at the racetrack, and the sound of your vehicle. Don't drive around listening to this. Drive around listening to the sound of performance. Gibson Performance. Gibson Performance Exhaust is the company who can turn this into this. Remember that life is all about sound, and Gibson Exhaust is the sound of performance. Check out your next catback exhaust system, headers, muffler, or UTV exhaust at GibsonPerformance.com and get more power and more sound.
Come to the island and rip it up this summer. Wakeboard Island. It's a skate park on water at Blue Water Resort and Casino. Check out the 2-tower cable system that pulls you and your board over the water. No boats to watch out for. No fumes. Wakeboard Island is open to all skill levels with an open center section for beginners. And for trick riders, a double side kicker and a 60-foot flat box. Wakeboard Island. The best ride this side of the Rockies. Adjacent to the River's Edge Cantina at Blue Water Resort and Casino on the Colorado River in Parker, Arizona.
To the Down and Dirty Radio Show, powered by Polaris RZR. Just got done with hour number 1, and man, it feels good sometimes just to be able to talk for 30 minutes. Seems like this show, I mean, we always have a ton of guests, and that's what that's what I like doing. I like having guests and getting people on air and talking. Cause I think sometimes you guys get sick and tired of just hearing me yap, right? But at the end of the day, once in a while, I need to. I feel like I got to get some stuff off my chest, and we had a ton of stuff built up, and I'm glad I was able to do that. But now we're going to fast forward into some more interviews, some more people, and Tanner Whitten, Red Bull GRC Lites driver, drove the Dirtfish Rally School GRC Lites car in 2015. He's going to be calling in just a minute. I'm going to be chatting about some Red Bull GRC and kind of recapping 2015 with him, and and see where the future leads, for him in 2016. I know taking a victory, he was definitely one of the front-running drivers there. And, got to wonder, has he got the supercar in his sights? I know, talking with him in the past, that was always the long-term goal. But, you got to wonder, where does the future lie for Mr. Tanner Whitten? So definitely one of, the premier up and young and upcoming talents in motorsports in the United States. So, I'd like to welcome Tanner Whitten to the line, my next guest. How's everything going, Tanner?
Hey, Jim, everything's going great.
Well, let's, we were kind of talking about, before you came on, talking about, 2015 and leading us into 2016. I know we've had you off and on air throughout 2015, kind of taking us through what it's like to be a rookie in GRC Lites. Now that you've got that rookie season under your belt, I mean, kind of recap the year for us. I mean, how did things start? I mean, what did you learn throughout the year about the process?
Man, it was a pretty amazing season from start to finish. There's a lot of ups, a lot of downs. I would say it's pretty much the perfect, full circle season. We started out very, very strong in Fort Lauderdale and Daytona. Came out of the gate. We had grabbed a fourth place in Fort Lauderdale. We would have had a second or third if there wasn't the unfortunate incident with one of the ramps there. Then we moved on to Daytona and was able to grab a fourth and a second. Being able to pull off my first podium in Daytona was a pretty special occasion for me, for sure. It's always been a place that I've always wanted to race, and started wanting to racing there in NASCAR, and to be able to get my first podium in GRC there is definitely a special moment. So, but I mean, it's been an amazing season overall. We've learned a lot about the car, learned a lot about our team. I learned a lot about myself as a driver and things that that I can improve on driving wise. So it's been a pretty amazing journey, and looking forward to 2016. I think we're going to be in good shape. We're trying to put a couple of things together that's going to maybe make me a little bit more diverse as a driver. So stay tuned for that, and we're still just trying to work out all the details.
Yeah, well, talking about 2015, I mean, coming into this year, I mean, a lot of the drivers that I know come in and really haven't had a lot of seat time in a Lites car. I mean, you were one of the guys who you've done a lot of testing of the Lites cars from the beginning when Andreas kind of brought them over here to the States. But I feel like do you feel like all that testing you did, there's a lot of these teams that have been in the series now a couple of years. So do you feel like, that advantage you may have had coming into 2015, it was now all of a sudden you were just, back equal with these other teams that, had all this experience, actually racing in the series?
Yeah, I think it definitely flattened out that learning curve for me. It definitely didn't give me a major advantage, because sure, the drivers that come in from a very strong road racing background are going to be very strong right away. A race car is a race car. A race car driver is going to pick up on it pretty quickly. But having that couple of sessions in the Lites car prior to getting in the car in Fort Lauderdale definitely gave me a little bit of a leg up early on in the season. And as the season went on, the new drivers, Miles Maroney and Alex Keys, they definitely picked up the pace and were fighting for wins with us as well as the Oldsburg factory crew. So it definitely helped me out early on. There were some things that some other teams were doing that were definitely allowing them to catch up to us later in the season. But I think there's definitely some things that we can improve on for 2016 to try and get back in the fight. We haven't been on the podium since Detroit, and it's unfortunate we didn't get on there from that point on to the end of the season. But man, the competition's been stellar, and the racing's been really exciting, and that's what the fans come to see. That's what they pay money for.
Yeah, it definitely had some great racing. I mean, Lites, I've been watching the Lites. I know back in the, inaugural season, I kind of tried to put a program together and just couldn't get the funding to get it off the ground. But, I've been watching, and it seems like it's always, there's always been a core group that ran that was, a solid core. And we've seen some guys move up out of the Lites class. But it seemed like, 2015, this was a year that class just absolutely exploded. I mean, tons of talent, and nobody ran away with it. I mean, each and every round. I mean, there was 5 of you, 5, 6 of you that could have took a victory.
Yeah, it definitely took the sport to a whole new level this year. This is the first year since the series' inception that it wasn't an Oldsberg factory car that won every race. It was definitely a varied season. We had a bunch of different winners, a bunch of first-time winners. A lot of rookies were winning races, and I think it just shows where the series is going. And looking at Las Vegas when we had 14 cars in the original starting grid, and it's just a preview of what the next couple of years are going to bring. A lot of new talent, a lot of varied talent from different series. A lot of big teams are going to be coming in. It's going to be very, very exciting to see where the Light Series goes. I fully anticipate to see in the next year or two to have more Light cars in the field than even supercars, which how it should be. I think a development series should always have more cars in the premier class. So I think it's going to be a really exciting time in the next year or so.
Yeah, well, and I think the addition, I mean, you jumped in this year, and they had such a solid TV package with NBC Sports, and you guys finally, the Lights series finally getting their due, and a lot of people had heard about it, but it was, little 30-second clips in the supercar broadcast. Now you guys had a whole show dedicated to you, and, one, that had to have been pretty exciting for you to be racing on TV, but two, it definitely had to help the exposure of the program.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. It's always good to get that kind of exposure out in a new series, and it just helps everybody. It allows us to go out and find partners that are willing to help us along through the year, and I think that's crucial to the survival of the series. And I mean, it's the same with any series. And any big network knows that they need to be behind their sports and everything. So it's good to have our first year out of the way with that 30-minute television broadcast. There's some stuff coming down the line that I think is going to be even bigger for us next year. I think a lot of that's going to be announced here in the coming weeks, in the coming months. So going to be exciting. I'm excited to see what Red Bull and GRC and Chip and everyone at GRC can really bring to this thing. I think this is the first year that it's been like, yep, this is here, this is it. We're here to stay now. So I think we're all in the right sport. We're all in the right series, and I think it's just a matter of time until this thing really blows up.
Yeah. Well, how is it for you? I mean, as a driver, I mean, obviously not coming from a dirt background. I mean, how was the transition, for you to, to the Lights car? I mean, were you able to bring a lot from your past racing, into the Lights car, or was there still, quite a bit of learning curve? I mean, just, being able to drive on both tarmac and dirt or gravel, I guess is the rally term for it.
I think a lot of what I come from, being that asphalt background and the little bit of road racing background and a lot of oval background that I come from, definitely played in my hands a lot this season. Just learning how to roll speed to the corner and work in traffic and things like that. But the time that I spent at Dirtfish to help me in the dirt definitely helped. We didn't have a lot of dirt in the GRC races this season. There was only a couple tracks where we actually had to navigate through a couple corners in the dirt. But not downplaying that plays a huge role in passing and the choker lines and things like that. But we're just looking at Las Vegas and looking at Barbados. This is good. This is turning into a road racing series, and I think the teams and the drivers that are very well versed in road racing and road racing techniques and setup and things are going to be the ones that are going to thrive. So I think that's the feature of GRC, is really getting that road course setup down, and I think that's where I really need to put my focus now.
Yeah. Well, in talking about the future, I mean, obviously you had some successes this year in Lights. I mean, I know talking with you in the past, I mean, the ultimate end goal was, is always to be in a supercar seat. I mean, heading into 2016, I mean, can you kind of shed any light on the plans? I mean, is there a chance we see you in supercar? Are you going to be back in Lights? Is it up in the air at this point? Do we know?
It's pretty much certain that I'm going to be in the Lights car for another season, and that's what I want to do. I don't want to be one of those drivers that comes in and just buys his way into a supercar and skips that fundamental step. I want to do this right. I want to be here for a long time, and I want to do it right. So I'm in the Lights for a year or so, or multiple years and really get those cars down, because they are an amazing platform to learn how to handle the all-wheel drive platform and just the Yokohama tire. It's a totally different tire than what we've run in the past. So it's really important to learn how to manage the grip of those tires, because if you can't manage it with 310 horsepower, you're sure as hell not going to be able to manage it with 610 horsepower. So it's very important to learn the limit of the tire. And ultimately, I want to run a handful of races here in the U.S. next year, and actually want to dip my toe into the European circuit a little bit. So just a couple things I want to work on, and we're just trying to work on the little details of everything. But yeah, you can definitely plan on seeing me in the Lites car for another season.
Nice. Well, and you know, I honestly, I think that's it's very smart decision. I mean, we know you could drive a supercar, but that's I think it's smart to spend another year in Lites, and as we've seen, the guys have done it properly, like Sebastian and Yoni, and they move up into the supercar and immediately are competitive at that level, and props to you for. For definitely, having that vision to say, hey, I need to take another year in Lites before we try and make that next step.
Yeah. I mean, it's a young sport. We're all still so new at this. We're all on the ground floor, and there's no need to rush it. I want to be here for my whole career. Rallycross is the future of motorsport in the U.S. and even the world. So I wanted to make all the right steps and do all the right things to make sure that I have a successful career in it. So taking those extra couple of years to hang around in the Lites and still having some fun, learning the circuit, learning all the dynamics of the cars and everything is definitely time well spent to make sure that I'm here to stay.
Yeah, well, and here's a question for you, because I really don't know the answer. I mean, I know you've spent a ton of time in in Lites cars. Have you had the opportunity to test or drive a supercar yet?
I have not yet. It's always been on my radar to definitely want to drive one, but I think that's a lot the same for a lot of Lites drivers. A lot of the supercar teams are really protective of their supercars, and it's one of those deals where you can't just go in and necessarily buy a test. You're really just kind of at the mercy of the team owners to say, well, okay, maybe they are ready to test the car, and then they bring you in to do that test. But we're just waiting that time out, wanting to buy our time, and I'm in no rush. I feel confident in myself that once I do get that opportunity to get into a Lites car or into a supercar that I can hold my own. So I'm just going to take this time in the Lites series to hone that craft and do the best I can to make sure that whenever that opportunity comes, that I'm fully ready for it, because you may only get one shot at it. So making sure that I'm 100% prepared is definitely the key right now.
Yeah. Well, and talking about that, I mean, obviously you spent a year in the series. I mean, we see in the supercars, I mean, we see multi-car teams is kind of the wave the supercars is going to. I mean, there's a few like, Ken Block, who's run a single car team and been successful, but, it seems like multi-car teams are becoming the wave. I mean, you look at Lites and guys are running multi-car teams there in Lites. I mean, do you see that as, is almost in the next couple of years going to be a necessary evil, or do you think you can still be competitive with the single car effort?
I definitely don't think multi-car helps or it hurts. It's one of those things where the more cars you have, the more data you have to look at, the more drivers you have to talk about coaching wise and things like that. So we are looking at that ourselves, wanting to put together a multi-car program for next year. So it's just a matter of figuring out the full dynamics and the logistics of that. But I definitely think it's a very crucial thing. We saw that this year with Dreyer and Reinbold, and those teams were definitely upping their game when it came to data analysis, and they were hauling the mail at the end of the year. All year they were fast, and they just kept getting better and better. So I think that's just a very strong key to them, is just looking at the data from Alex and Miles, and they were definitely doing it right. So I think they're going to be the benchmark moving forward throughout the next couple of years, is figuring out how to beat those guys. Sure, Olsberg's is very, very strong, and they won the championship first and second this year. But I think the other teams that are coming in from an Indy background are definitely going to be the ones to watch.
Yeah, well, and I think we've seen that in both Lites now and supercars. I mean, I don't think that I don't think that Oldsberg's is getting any slower. I just think that all the teams are getting a lot better, and where Oldsberg's just ran away with things in Supercar and in Lights for so long, I think these multi-car efforts and these IndyCar teams and whatnot coming in and these professional race teams. I mean, they're bringing they're raising the level, and and Oldsberg's is stepping up their game, but I think everybody else is as well. And to me, it's pretty cool to see that competition now.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you look back a couple of years, you see Oldsberg's was winning absolutely everything, and now that we've got other teams coming in, that's not necessarily the case. But man, those guys are an amazing racing team. They're going to be right there, and we saw it at the last race in Vegas. They took the top 2 steps on the podium. They're going to be right there in the fight again next year. Every one of these teams now can basically go out and win races. You look at SH Racing and Hurd and Andretti and Oldsberg's. Everyone's there to win races, and they've all done that. So it's a very, very, very exciting time in the sport to see all these big teams coming in, and I think it's going to be very exciting to see where it goes next year, whether or not there's some more teams coming in, more manufacturers coming in. I think it's going to be pretty exciting to see where this thing goes.
Yeah. Well, off season, obviously we kind of just started the off season. I mean, what's the winter look like for Tanner Whitten? I mean, what do you do to be in prime driving shape? I mean, what do you have on the business front? I mean, what's this off season look like for you?
It looks pretty busy. Just a lot of training things and a lot of the business side, as you know, is the most time consuming part of this whole sport. So we're going to be spending a lot of time on that, getting all of our ducks in a row, sponsorship wise and team wise, to make sure we do everything we can to come out of the box in the first race next year and try and get this team set off on the right foot and get me off on the right foot. So that's going to take up a lot of our time, and I'm ready to put my nose to the grindstone and figure out how to find some more speed. I was behind a little bit there at the last part of the season, so definitely some things I want to do this off season. Not necessarily too much I can do when it's cold, but whenever spring comes around, I want to get more of a road course car figured out so I can go do some training in that and do some local racing and some road racing series and things. So I think that's going to be crucial to my speed moving forward.
Yeah, well, and here's an off-the-wall question before we let you go. But I've told people a lot. I've told them this a lot, and I want to bounce it off you and see if you kind of have the same feeling. But I get a lot of people go, how do you get better and this and that. I'm like, honestly, tell people go to an indoor karting facility, whether it's a K1 or they're all over the country. And I said, go in those cars. I said, because I said your braking points, and I said your apexes, and I said, I said a lot of it transfers over. And I mean, and I know me. Anytime I'm around one, I don't know if I know the track or not. I'll just bounce in there and take some laps at an indoor karting place. I mean, I love it. I feel like it keeps my skills on point. I don't know how you feel about them.
I mean, seat time. No matter if it's go-karts or lawnmowers or anything. I mean, it's seat time. So those indoor karting tracks, and really any karting track is great training, especially for the lights class, because those karts don't have a lot of horsepower, and you're required to keep that momentum up for the entirety of the course and the entirety of the session. And that's a lot like what the lights have. They don't have a ton of horsepower, and it's really about a momentum car. So definitely indoor karting is definitely something I'm going to be looking at for the rest of the off season. There's a couple of places around me that I can go run at, and it's always fun to go out there and run with your buddies and do the whole smack talk thing, and it's more just for fun than it is for hard training. But I mean, all that little bit of seat time really adds up to you there at the end.
For sure. Well, I appreciate you taking the time, Tanner. Congrats on the successes in 2015, and definitely looking forward to seeing how things shape up for you in 2016. You definitely have to, when you're ready to make some announcements, definitely keep us in the loop.
Yeah, absolutely, man. It was great to help announce this thing for you guys this beginning of this season. So I'm definitely going to keep you guys in mind for getting something announced here in 2016. All
right, awesome. Well, thanks a lot, Tanner, and good luck in 2016, and we'll talk soon.
Awesome. Thanks, Jim. Appreciate it. Talk to you later.
You too.
Yep.
All right, that was Tanner Whitten, GRC Lites driver. Raced the Dirtfish Rally GRC Lites car in 2015. Looks like a little change of pace in 2016 for Tanner, but definitely looking forward to seeing what things have in store for him. I know definitely one of the talented young guns in the U.S., and it sounds like he's going to do a little racing overseas as well. It's kind of interesting him talking about the data and and stuff like that and the data gathering. It's funny because I just literally last night was reading an article about Wi-Fi in Formula One and how these cars in testing. It used to be pull the car into the pull the car into into the paddock, and they plug in the laptop and download all the info from ECU. Well, now some of these teams in Formula One are using Wi-Fi, so as the car is out on track, it can actually send the data directly to the paddock area. And so these drivers, I mean, as they're out there, the teams are getting real-time information instead of having to pull back into the paddock and plug the laptop in and download it. So it was definitely an interesting article. There's some legalities, in race conditions that you cannot do that. But in testing and stuff like that, these teams are able to gather the data a whole lot quicker, even in practice, Formula One events, than they normally would. And obviously that's just now starting to roll into Formula One. So you got to figure, in the next couple of years, I mean, you're going to see GRC and a lot of these other race series, that it trickles down to. But pretty interesting read that, I read over the weekend on technology and how it's changing motorsport. But, we're going to take a short break, and when we come back, we're going to have Ami Houde calling in. We're going to be talking a lot of two wheels, maybe a little Nitro Circus, and a whole lot more here on the Down and Dirty Radio Show, powered by Polaris RZR. I'm Polaris driver Jim Beaver. I host the Down and Dirty Radio Show, travel the country announcing motorsports events, and I compete against some of the toughest drivers in the world in my number 15 trick truck in the Best in the Desert Championship. I know what it takes to survive Baja and races like the Mint 400 or Vegas to Reno, and that is reliability. When I choose to train, pre-run, or just take my family out to the desert or dunes on the weekend, I trust Polaris RZR products exclusively. I need the absolute best performing vehicles that I know will get me back safe, fast, and without any problems. The only vehicle on the market that I know will do this is the Polaris RZR. Take my advice and join me and some of the best drivers in the world driving a Polaris RZR. Check out the full lineup of Polaris RZR vehicles at Polaris.com or follow them on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at Polaris RZR. For 100 years, General Tire has provided tires for your lifestyle, your adventure, your anywhere. Born from competition, the Grabber tire offers the durability and off-road traction you demand in a tire. We put these tires to the test in the harshest off-road racing conditions to give you a tire that will make your anywhere possible. So let us take you on your next big adventure. Tweet us photos at General Tire, hashtag anywhere is possible. Because with General Tire, anywhere is possible. Baja, check. King of the Hammers, check. Crandon, check. The Mint 400, check. Only one wheel company can say they have dominated the deserts and rocks of the Southwest to the mud and carnage of the big house at Crandon, and that company is KMC Wheels. KMC Wheels has won them all with the help of elite drivers like Travis Pastrana, Ricky Johnson, Bryce Menzies, Carl Renazetter, and Lauren Healy, who all rely on the XD Series from KMC Wheels to get them to the finish line and on top of the podium. Check out KMC Wheels and their full line of XD Series wheels at KMCWheels.com or on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at KMC Wheels. KMC Wheels, like no other.
Rigid Industries is the original and #1 LED light bar manufacturer in the world. Torture tested by some of the best drivers in motorsports. Rigid LED lighting products use cutting-edge technology and can stand up to the harshest conditions Mother Nature can dish out. Designed, engineered, and assembled in the United States, Rigid LED lighting is the only choice for your off-road vehicle or boat. Find out more information on the entire line of Rigid Industries LED lighting products at www.rigidindustries.com.
Are you looking for a place to push yourself behind the wheel and see how your driving skills stack up? Dirtfish Rally School is that place. Located on 315 acres of pristine automotive playground at the foot of the Cascade Mountains in Snoqualmie, Washington, right outside of Seattle, Dirtfish Rally School is a one-of-a-kind place where everyone from first-time drivers to seasoned professionals like Bucky Lassick and Antoine Lestage can push themselves to their limit. Whether driving the high-performance, rally-prepped all-wheel drive Subaru Impreza STI is what you're looking for, or you'd rather hang it all out in the rear-wheel drive Subaru BRZ GRZs, Dirtfish Rally School has something for everyone. Classes are available from 2 hours to 3 full days and feature instructors with over 150 years of combined racing experience. Whether you're looking to become the best and get an edge on the competition, or just looking to freshen your skills behind the wheel, Dirtfish Rally School is the place to go. For more information on registering for classes, visit Dirtfish on the web at dirtfish.com, or to check out the latest happenings from Dirtfish, follow them on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at Dirtfish Rally.
Life is all about sound, the sound of sports, the sound at the racetrack, and the sound of your vehicle. Don't drive around listening to this. Drive around listening to the sound of performance. Gibson Performance. Gibson Performance Exhaust is the company who can turn this into this. Remember that life is all about sound, and Gibson Exhaust is the sound of performance. Check out your next catback exhaust system, headers, muffler, or UTV exhaust at GibsonPerformance.com and get more power and more sound.
Welcome back to the Down and Dirty Radio Show, powered by Polaris RZR. 90 minutes into this 2-hour show, and it's time for a little bit of Ami Houde here in just a minute. Man, talk about lots of fun. Whew, Tanner Whitten, you know, I don't know. What else can be said? I'm speechless here, you know. Total loss of words. No, great show so far. Tanner Whitten, Joe Duncan from Terracross, talking some Ronda Rousey, some recoil, Baja 1000. I don't know, we've even thrown in some Formula One and NASCAR talk, and that means hell's freezing over, which means it's a good time for Ami Houde to be calling in. Looks like she's on the line right now.
You better bust that if you don't pull that. Where the hood at?
What's happening, Amy?
Hey, how's it going?
I don't know, man. Hell has frozen over a few times this show, so you need to thaw us out.
What do you mean? What's happening?
No, it's just we've got off on some rants and some talk on stuff that we never talk about on this show. So I don't know. We got 30 minutes left, and generally that happens in your segment. So I have no idea what's going to happen the next 30 minutes.
Well, let's open the can of worms then, I guess. I mean, not too much has been really going on in the moto industry. There was Bercy Supercross, which was, interesting, I guess you could say. It's like half interesting, half depressing. Weston Pike was the king of Bercy, coming up with a win off this weekend. But really close. I mean, Cooper Webb was right behind him. I know they swapped a couple place finishes, but Weston was superior. But unfortunately, which, is kind of the depressing part, but I hate to say it, but it's not that big of a surprise. James Stewart got carted off and did not finish, of course. Typical. He pulled a James Stewart. So
yeah. We were just talking about that last week. Like, James, if the guy, if he'd go from 110% to like 97%, he'd probably win and finish a whole lot more.
Honestly, I didn't even think he was riding over his head. Like, he wasn't winning by all means or anything. Like, he just, I don't know what's wrong with him. He just can't seem to put it all together. And I don't know, there might be a lot of hype around him too, so he probably does have a lot of pressure. When he hits the line there, everybody's expecting him to go balls to the wall and, pull out the old James Stewart that we used to see. So maybe there's a lot of pressure there, and, maybe he's not fully healed from his injuries. I have no idea. I cannot tell you, but it's almost sad. It's almost like, okay, well, why don't you just go back to the drawing board and fix yourself and then come back? Because I think he's, letting down a lot of people and a lot of fans. So,
well, here's a question for you.
I thought he had a lot of time off. I don't know what's happening.
Yeah, truth here. Now, we're talking truth. James Stewart, how many years, and we're talking in his Supercross career, because obviously James could go on and race off-road trucks or do whatever he wants. A lot of guys like McGrath tend to do that. I know Villapota's looking at some options, too, that I can't talk about right now, but I think you're going to see him back on TV pretty soon. But, James Stewart, on a dirt bike in Supercross and motocross, how many more years do you think we're going to see him?
Well, I kind of thought this year, obviously 2016, was going to be a depiction of, you know, his longevity, the Supercross career, and it hasn't even started, and it's not looking good for him. Okay, like the guy just can't put it all together. He is definitely one of those guys who needs a roll cage because he can't stop hurting himself. So I don't really know. I mean, the A1 hasn't even started yet, and these, you know, Monster Energy Cup, and now Bercy, 2 injuries, DNFs. I don't know what's going on here. So to be honest, this could be his last year because he had 2 years off, and he still hasn't been able to put it all together. So I really don't know. It's pretty depressing. Like I said, I mean, I think he's a really talented rider. I like him as a person, but I don't really know what I'm seeing. I don't know what side of James Stewart that we're seeing out there because, you know, he flopped over in one corner, and then he had a tangle up, I think, actually with his brother in one of the other motos. And, you know, again, I'm not too sure what's going on with him. You think that he would be conditioned and, you know, would be strong and be fit with all of his time off that he has had. So I can tell you, this could be his last year. I don't know how much support he's going to be getting from sponsors with performance like this.
Yeah, you know, and you hate to see a rider do that. I mean, I like to see him go out of their prime. I mean, you know, Jeremy, obviously, you know, I think he went out, you know, not at the peak of his career, but he was still competitive, you know, and you look at Chad Reed, and I know Chad has built himself, you know, for the future, having a team and stuff like that. But Chad, I mean, as recently as last year, you know, he can take victories. So, you know,
yeah.
You know, Chad is still riding it in, you know, obviously a level good enough to get wins. I mean, Stewart, we saw him at Red Bull Straight Rhythm. I think that got everybody excited. But, you know, you would hate to see a guy that just –
very different, you know, level of riding, straight rhythm to racing. I mean, you're lined up against, you know, 30 other guys, and you're racing for 20-plus laps as opposed to straight rhythm where it's like it's literally a 2-second moto. There's not much to straight rhythm. It takes a lot of talent, yes, but, you know, your physical level and your endurance and everything else, I mean, it's completely different than Supercross or outdoors. I mean, how would he even be able to sustain a full outdoor series with, you know, what we're seeing right now from him? I really don't know. So, to be honest, maybe he would be best to try something different in the next year or two. Take a break. I don't know. I mean, you don't really see too many athletes taking a break, trying something else, and then coming back to Supercross or motocross. But I don't know. You know, you always wish and hope for the best of any athlete to kind of go out of their career with a bang. And I don't want this to be how James Stewart ends his career. Obviously, on a bad note with the whole Adderall scandal, whatever, but, you know, now to kind of end off like this and 2 DNFs in his first 2 races back might not be the best way he wants to go out with his career. So hopefully he can figure something out, and, you know, he is extremely talented. He is one of the best riders we've ever seen in Supercross. I don't know. You know, I don't know what's going on. Couldn't tell you. He probably needs a new trainer and a new physio person, and he just needs someone else to help him out.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's just, to me, I'm dumbfounded. I thought, well, it's still early. I mean, do we know how bad the injury is? Have we heard yet?
No, not too sure yet, actually. There's no word on if it's his knee or his ankle. I mean, it's James Stewart. It could be nothing.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Maybe it's just maybe it's a slight sprain or something like that, and he'll be at A1 and you know, and go and have a great year. We just don't know yet. It's just I know it's just disappointing. You know, I think I think he's got a lot of fans, you know, backing him right now, and I think it just
and the thing is, I hate to hound on him because, again, I am a fan. I love his riding style. I think he's very, very much a different kind of rider than anybody else I've ever seen. It's just he has a lot of expectations, and there's a lot of hype around James Stewart. And you know, I know that it's not necessarily his performance that's letting everybody down, but, you know, everybody did have a really, really, really high expectations for him. You know, for his comeback year, I guess you could say. it's not looking too good.
Yeah, it's I don't know. I mean, yeah, it's definitely not looking too good. We definitely, hopefully it was nothing major, and we see him at A1, and life goes on, right? So.
Yeah, I agree for sure. I mean, and I am wishing him the best. I really do hope that he can, figure it all out and be battling for that championship spot for 2016. I really, really hope so, because he keeps things interesting, and he's very unpredictable, and he's the kind of guy that throws it all out there, and he makes for a really, really interesting race year. So I really hope he can, stay healthy, because it would just be very interesting this year. Not boring like last year. We always talked about last year being a little bit boring with Dungey just playing it safe and easy. With Stewart in the mix, it just shakes everything up, and it just makes for something very, very exciting. So.
Yeah, because he's one of those guys at any venue, you just never know when he's going to strike, but he can take a victory.
Yep.
And
yeah. No, and every weekend he could strike. He just like strike rhythm, he just puts it all on the line for that one moment. But it's kind of, sometimes that's not exactly what he had hoped for. So.
Yeah. So.
Lucky. I guess we got a couple weeks left here, so.
Yeah. Yep. And I know, we were talking yesterday, kind of talking about what we're going to talk about. I know we got to reach out. Endurocross, they're having one heck of a battle, both in the men's and women's. I think the women's is separated by 1 point.
Wow.
And the men's, there's 3 guys going into Ontario this weekend that has a chance at the championship. I mean, here's a series that get some TV time here in the United States. I don't know about Canada, but I think it just plays second fiddle to Supercross, and they've got some amazing racing going on right now.
Oh yeah, I mean, and we've talked about it before. Obviously, Endurocross is it operates at such an intense level, and the athletes are so extreme and so talented. I mean, you just can't throw anybody out there on an Endurocross track and see them perform good or race good at all. It's so challenging. It is so tough and beats people up, and it's just super crazy. And Cooper Abbott is always like, Amy, you gotta come out and race one. I'm like, no, man, I need 4 months of hardcore training before you send me out there to jump over a log from a rock, into a bush. It's just not happening. It's no. I need to train to ever race any level of Endurocross.
Well, I know talking about anybody that's tried to make the crossover, I mean, I know talking with Sarah Price, I mean, she got a chance because she'd medaled at X Games to do Endurocross at X Games, and she said it was unlike anything she'd ever done before. I know Jolene, I've talked with her in depth on it, and she's like, I tried. I mean, she dedicated a year to being a good Endurocross rider, and she's like, I just need more time. She's like, it's not a quick switch. She's like, you would
not at all.
She's like, you would think jumping these big triples and everything else, we'd be able to adapt to anything. She's like, it's not easy. She's like, you literally need to dedicate yourself, turn everything Supercross, motocross off in your head, and dedicate yourself to Endurocross.
Yeah, no, Endurocross is extremely technical, and it's a whole different kind of style of riding where, you're using your body and you're pivoting over rocks, and you like you said, you actually got to kind of completely dislearn everything you've learned and start from scratch over again. So, yeah, no, it's really cool. I really, really respect all the guys who are good at it. And, Mike Brown being a lot older and even Destry Abbott, bringing 2 older guys, it's just from the level of how physically demanding it is, there's some tough birds. There's some tough old dudes, man.
Well, and that's funny mentioning that, because I feel like, a lot of these motocross and supercross guys, I mean, you hit 30 and you're over the hill, in supercross and motocross. I hate to say that because I'm over 30 and, and I hate to say, but you're getting a little close there, Amy. But I know I'm totally just screwing with you a little bit here. But no, I mean, I feel like Endurocross, these guys hit their peak after 30. You know what I mean? I look at a guy like Taylor Robert, who's, right there, and he's just coming into his own as an Endurocross rider. You've got Destry Abbott, you have Mike Brown. I mean, these guys are, the fast guys, and they're 40. I mean, I feel like it's a sport that it takes time. I mean, it's not the young guns that excel at it.
Yeah, no, exactly. And again, that's because of the level of technicality, how, it takes a very advanced rider, and you really have to learn the skills and learn the trade, basically, and it's, it's really tough. I haven't even tried it yet, and just from what I see on TV and, you know, going to a couple of endurocross races, no, I mean, you got it. It's so technical. It takes a lifetime of freaking teaching and practice and training and stuff. So,
yeah. Speaking of that, I did get to hang out for a few minutes with Destry Abbott backstage at Nitro Circus in Phoenix. So, yeah, he was there. Just got back from Idaho and getting ready to roll out to Ontario, and you know, he's kind of on the you know, the finale of his career. Obviously, he's going to be involved for the rest of his life, I think. You know, but training riders and stuff. But you know, it was kind of cool. I mean, he was there, and you know, had the family there, and he was all smiles. So
awesome.
Yeah. So yeah, speaking of that, Nitro. I mean, I haven't been to a show in almost 2 years, year and a half. Street Bike Tommy took care of us, but amazing seeing Bruce do the flip in person. Holy crap, you see the videos, but the emotional attachment you get to it is just insane.
Yeah, no, definitely. Like, you know, we touched on this when they were here in Winnipeg, but definitely his act was the crowd favorite and got everybody on their feet, and you know, Instagram and Snapchat and Twitter just blew up after that. So, yeah, no, Bruce is awesome.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you what was funny. You know, we got to go out there before, you know, the arena was still empty and nobody'd shown up yet. And we're out there, and, you know, my daughter, she's turning 7, and let her loose on the ramps. And I didn't realize how steep those landing ramps were until you try and walk up one. Holy crap. I mean, I had to take a full-on sprint to get up to the top. I mean, if you don't have your momentum going, you can't even walk up those. It's crazy.
Yeah, no, they're huge. I mean, they're huge. They're kind of bouncy, like the motocross. The moto landing is, you know, how some flex into it. But, yeah, no, they're really, really steep. It's cool to see in person.
Yeah. Well, and here's a question for you. I mean, you know, I know you went and, you know, are hitting some ramps, you know, to kind of end off, you know, motocross season. I mean, how are the landings at Nitro compared to, like, the ones you were hitting with the ramps to dirt?
They're very, very similar. I mean, they're exactly the same, other than they're extremely hard packed. Yeah. So there's not too much forgiveness on the dirt ramps at Whiskey Throttle compound, which is the compound here. And I hit the knuckle my very first time. And actually, Braden, the last kind of, you know my friend Braden, he hit the knuckle. Whiskey Throttle threw a huge party at the last, you know, one of the last nice days out here. And all the boys were jumping in Teletubby costumes because it was right around Halloween. And he decides to go out there and hit the ramp and just freaking clocked the knuckle so hard. He actually broke his front number plate. But no, the knuckle of the landing is really, really unforgiving. Like, it's honestly like hitting a brick wall. It's hard.
Yeah, it's the worst spot.
Yeah, and it's very different than dirt. I mean, I guess a track even, because it's, you know, often the tracks are groomed and a little bit loamy, so there's a little bit of forgiveness. But no, the ramps are very hard. That was probably my first lesson, was shoot to land halfway down the ramp, not on top of it.
Yeah. But here's a question for you. I know we're getting ready to, you know, you and I were talking about snowcross season coming up, and I think you're going to go to Duluth and watch the kickoff. And obviously, we're both friends with Levi, and you know, I've got some other friends there that race snowcross, and so do you. And you ever had any interest in the wintertime of racing snowmobiles, or at least trying it out?
Well, fun fact of the day: I actually raced one snowcross race in my lifetime. So I've always been someone who's been totally down for anything. You tell me to go do something, and I will always try it out. And if it's awesome, I'll probably try it again. But, no, I mean, I've ridden sleds. I've driven sleds. I don't own a sled personally because, A, they're extremely expensive, and B, we ice race in the winter. So my dad's always been, you know, a two-wheel fanatic. He's never had a snowmobile, but we set the bikes up in wintertime and we go ice racing. So, you know, any chance that we get, we go ice racing instead of snowmobiling. But a lot of my friends snowmobile, Braden snowmobile, so I'm very much involved in the snowmobile lifestyle. And actually, I dated a guy from Red Lake, Ontario, who actually now races in, I believe, Sweden, like snowcross in Sweden. Super random. But, no, he, took me out to one of his snowcross races one time in Red Lake, so that's when they used to have the Canadian Series, and there was a mechanics race, And he like threw me on the sled, and I lined up for this mechanics race. I think I finished like dead last, or maybe I beat a couple of people, but I totally did a snowcross race. So yes, at least I can say that I did it, and I checked it off my bucket list. But I would have no problem nowadays doing it again, because now I've kind of I am way more comfortable with jumping and doing big jumps. And snowcross, there's a lot of jumps. It's very, very jumpy. So back in the day, I wasn't really too comfortable with doing jumps. But now I think I would be able to hold my own a little bit more in the female division. I know a lot of those female snowcross racers are extremely talented and have huge balls. They jump huge jumps. And, I mean, you're jumping like I don't know how heavy a snowmobile is, what, like 500 pounds, 900 pounds?
They're heavy. The ones I've read,
like,
even... So I give props to Levi. I mean, Levi's, he's ripped. I mean, but he's not a big guy. I mean, for his size, he's ripped. But the way he throws sleds around, I'm looking at him going, man, I mean, it's amazing.
They are so hard to turn. Let me tell you, on a snowcross track, you have these super tight, like, bowl-style corners that are just, like, really deep snow that just get chewed out. And snowmobiles are so impossible to freaking turn. So that was, like, the hardest thing I had. And I think I was actually recovering from my shoulder injury. So here I am out there on the track trying to, like, turn the snowmobile with one arm. Like, oh, it was terrible. Yeah. And it was cold, and it was just a very bad experience. And so that
we got to get you to Crested Butte, Colorado this April. Joe, when he was on earlier in the show, talked about it. Winter Terracross is coming back to Crested Butte. I raced it last year. Did pretty solid.
I'm so down.
It was so much fun there at running these razors up and down the ski resort, through the lifts and through the pine trees. It was so much fun.
Don't even tell me about it. That's exciting. Like, I would have no problem going to the mountains and snowmobiling. But, at the end of the day, I am a racer. Like, if I did anything, I would totally just line up at a race and just wing it. Like, someone lend me your sled, I would go and race the loose if I had the opportunity. Like, I had no problem. And kind of with my racer mentality, like, I don't want to go there and just, like, putt around. Like, I'll go and try to win. Like, I'd go and compete against those girls. I know some of them would probably jump over my head and block past me, but no, I'd totally do it. I have no problem.
So you're like me. Like, I'll race anything. I'm not promising I'll be good, but I'll race. Like, and I'll own up. Hey, I'll probably suck, but I'll still go and race it. I don't care.
I'd rather race than, again, like, go free ride. And it's so funny because so many people are the complete opposite of me. Like, 90% of people out there would go and free ride either a bike, a razor, or a snowmobile, where it's like, I'd rather not even have a day of practice and go line up for a race, because I just perform at a whole different level when I'm racing. Like, I just kick into that racer mentality, and I just want to win. Yeah. So I just figure it out as I go. But no, I am such a hardcore racer. It's really, really weird. Like, even racing, like riding, moto. I don't have as much fun on practice days as I do at a race day. Like, I really thoroughly enjoy racing.
Yeah, that's me. I mean, you got to practice. So you have to put in the time. It's just like racing desert racing. I mean, you've got to go out and test the trophy truck, but to me, it's just not as fun as having people on course with you.
Yeah, and I mean, I really like to have time on the track to kind of get the jump down and and learn the track. It's sometimes pretty hard, especially in Terracross. I notice, like, it's hard to go out there and remember what every jump an obstacle is. Like, okay, is this a triple? Is this a tabletop? Is there a gap here? Or is it a flat tabletop? Can I jump it all the way? Like, I sometimes have a hard time remembering obstacles. So it's nice to have a little bit of track time. But, I always find when you are in a racing setting, you always perform at your highest capability, and you just kind of put it all out on the line. So I like that. I like that about racing, that you always kind of end up pushing yourself and finding that level that you never thought you had to make that win happen or something. So that's my thrill for it. Even talking about it gets me excited. I'm like, yeah, I want to race.
Hey, so get this. As we're on air right now, we just got some breaking news, literally breaking news as we're on air. I knew about this. It got canceled last year. It's coming back this year. Red Bull just announced it. Levi LaValle just posted it. It's in Minnesota, Elk River, Minnesota, February 20th, 21st, Red Bull Snow Boundaries. Basically, it's a snowmobile racing event that merges snowcross and cross-country into one event.
Wow, that's awesome.
So they got canceled last year because they had it later in the spring. There wasn't enough snow. So it looks like they moved it forward a month or something. But, yeah, that'll be I think our buddy Joe Duncan may be involved in that somehow. So
I'm sure he is. He's involved in everything.
But it's in Elk River in his backyard, so I'm assuming, hey, Joe's behind this. But
that'd be awesome.
Yeah,
my friend Bobby Manny will be out there. He's a cross-country snowmobile racer, and I think he's actually one of the top guys. So, it'd be cool. Trying to, like snowcross a little bit more. Again, I love snowmobiles. I like snowcross racing. I just hate the cold. So I got to learn to appreciate the winter sports a little bit more.
How do you live in Canada and hate the cold?
I don't know. That's cold.
You're like a California girl at heart, right?
I am. I am a sun bum. I like the sunshine and I like the heat. I love the Arizona desert. The hotter the better. Everyone complains about it being really hot. I'd take 110 degrees over minus 30 any day. I'm in
a hooded sweatshirt right now, and I'm looking at the weather, going, I'm gonna have to peel this thing out before I walk out of the studio.
Oh well, we have forecast for snow this week, so.
Nice.
Get ready.
Yep, for sure. Well, tons of fun. I don't know. We've got a lot of stuff to talk about next week. Next week is Thanksgiving week here in the States, but I know we're gonna try and get some enduro crossers and maybe some snow crossers on air next week. So it should be a lot of fun.
That sounds awesome. Yeah, no, definitely. I'm really gonna hopefully try to make it out to Duluth. So I'll be able to do some recapping of some live racing again. It sucks kind of watching everything online. I prefer to be out there obviously and taking it all in and getting some behind-the-scenes action. But, no, I'm really excited to go to Duluth. I'm probably just going to drive out on Friday right after work and then go watch some snowcross. And it's not even that cold outside right now, so it's going to be awesome.
I was going to say, good thing for you. Now we've got the K2s that you race Terracross with, and they're have the Pro Light team, and you've got Little Valley, so you'll have all kinds of heated motorhomes and semis you can bail into, right?
Yep, exactly. But again, it's not even that bad outside right now. Today's beautiful. It's kind of overcast, a little bit of rain, but it's still nice outside. I mean, this weekend my dad went riding. I don't have a bike right now, and he was trying to convince me to ride the 500, but I didn't feel like it. So no, but my dad and a few of my friends were out riding this weekend, and it was one of the nicest weekends for November. It was beautiful outside. Yeah, it's crazy. I mean, we might even have one more weekend of rideable weather. So we're pretty lucky here.
Yeah, you're pretty lucky. I'm looking outside going, man, we just started our rideable season, man. The weather's calmed down. It's not 120. Shoot, I got 4 or 5 months to go out and shred the desert.
Jealous.
Yeah, I just got the Razor back from SEMA, so I went out this weekend and we were banging around out in the desert. So, finally being able to get that thing dirty.
You were banging around the desert, or were you banging around in that bouncy castle that I hear you had for your daughter's birthday?
A little of both, to be honest with you. I threw my back out on Thursday, so I went to the chiropractor Friday and then spent some time in a bounce house and in a Razor over the weekend. So I'm sure that was perfectly what you're supposed to do after you've been at the chiropractor and threw your back out.
Exactly.
Yeah, so go figure. I never said I'm the smartest. I just I have the most fun though.
That's awesome.
So, all righty, Amy. Well, we'll definitely talk soon, and have some fun. Hopefully, the weather holds, and you can get out there with your dad before the winter really socks you in, right?
Yeah, no, exactly. And I'm actually looking to get that. And you and I have been talking personally, and you know that I am doing a whole garage makeover. So, a year later, after I bought my first house, I get my shop. So basically, my garage is bigger than my house. So the deal was, as the old owner got to keep the garage for a year until he built like a 6-car garage on his new property. And so I just got the garage now. He's slowly moving everything over to his new place. But I'm actually learning how my dad is finding me a nice old bike, and I'm going to learn how to strip it down, do a top end, completely learn how to take a bike apart and put it back together this winter. So that's kind of my plan. I'm really, really excited. But yeah, no, I'm kind of doing a whole moto chick shop makeover, and
nice.
gonna learn to be a gearhead, I guess.
Yeah.
So
cool.
yeah,
I'm getting ready to overhaul the carburetor on my daughter's 50. I want to get you out here to Arizona for some good weather and teach her how to ride. I want Addie to have some Ami Houde instructions. So.
Heck yeah. No, you let me know. I am so there. Definitely.
Awesome.
How old is she?
7.
Okay, no, she's perfect age.
Yeah, so
she'll be good to go.
She's hell on wheels right now, let me tell you.
I bet.
So.
All right, well, you have a good rest of your week and take it easy, and let's hit back next week.
All right, sounds good. Thanks a lot, Amy.
Okay, have a good one.
Yeah, you too.
Bye.
Bye. All right, that was Ami Houde, and talking a little bit of everything. And man, we are running close on time here, but got to wind things up. Obviously, Baja 1000 this weekend. That's going down. Terracross Championship, that going down this weekend as well. And we're a week away from the snowcross kickoff in Duluth. Next week, we're going to have a lot of snowcross content. Best in Desert Henderson wrapping up the Best in Desert Championship and World Rallycross Argentina. All that coming up. Got to give a big shout-out to Polaris Razor, General Tire, Rigid Industries, Dirtfish Rally School, UPR.com, Blue Water Resort and Casino, Jmar Brakes, KMC Wheels, Parker Motor Company, Gibson Exhaust, MTX Audio, the official audio partner of the Down and Dirty Radio Show. I am Jim Beaver. That was Ami Houde. Give us a follow at JimBeaver15 and at Ami Houde71 on all social media. Facebook.com/Down and Dirty Show or downanddirtyshow.com for all those back episodes. Download our app, available on Apple, iTunes, Google Play, and the Amazon Kindle store. And you guys have a great week. We'll be back at you next Monday with even more of the Down and Dirty Radio Show powered by Polaris Razor. As always, game on.